Oh man. Okay. This is a test stream. I'm just treating it as a test stream. English. Use the left stick. Choose an option below to get started. Okay. Why don't we... I guess I'll just be lame and make it look like myself. Keldemo! Welcome in. Welcome in. How is Unicorn feeling? Well, let's see. How would Unicorn be feeling? If last I checked, she's still pregnant. Unicorn is, as of yesterday, 20 weeks. 20 weeks. 20 weeks down. So I think that's what, halfway, right? On average. Yeah. Yeah. And it's been amazing just learning more about the human body, especially for women, and what you end up going through for the entire pregnancy. It's just absolutely crazy. And yo, Jesco with the tier 1. Oh man, I haven't heard that sound in literally months. I actually looked at the timestamp or the date of the last stream. It said August 25th. So we were about 9 days away from two full months, which was, not intended initially. But thank you so much for resubscribing now for 8 months. I have purposely not gone live on TikTok because I just want to get familiar with this again, as sad as that sounds. And I don't want to overextend myself. And, if I was truly... Cheese and rice! I've been live for 2 minutes and 48 seconds. Thank you so much for the raid, Moon Sugar Cake. I hope that you are doing well. I need to slow down a little bit. Yes, you are. How are you doing? What were you streaming? Little Brit, thank you so much for the Prime sub as well. Cheese and rice. We're not going to get anything done. Sella! I'm still waiting. I've been checking my email. I've checked like 3 times today. I'll even check again. And I know you're not pushing it, but I've been checking for an email from Throne so that I can return the monitor. It's still in the box over here. The one time they actually send it quickly. Because I remember last time when something was supposed to arrive, it took like weeks. But that's right. Merry Birthmas, Sella. You've leveled up. Thank you so much for being here. No, you can't subscribe. You can't subscribe on your birthday. We should be taking care of you. And then also, the ADD is strong right now. I apologize. Moon Sugar Cake just raided with 14 people. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Moon Sugar Cake, I don't know how up to date you are with things in this community, but this is the first stream in almost 2 full months. So there's a lot to talk about. Unfortunately, I don't know how long I will be able to stream today. A lot of things didn't go as expected, but I have everything set up how I want it now. And I still have some cleaning up I need to do in this room, but I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. Moon Sugar Cake, if you have to raid and dash, I completely understand, but I really do appreciate the love, the energy, because it's been a void. It has been a massive void in my life, not creating content and not being here. But everything happens for a reason. And as much as I don't want to say this, I unfortunately do think that it had to happen. It had to happen. Just too much misalignment in my life. And I've been putting in a lot of work, a lot of self-work. And thank you so much. It is 10 p.m. for you. By all means, please take care of yourself. Thank you so much. We will catch up again soon. I just want to take this moment to appreciate finally hitting the go live button. It's just amazing how challenging your mind can be at times. It can be super easy to do things, especially if you're in a state of flow. And then it could, at the same time, it could be incredibly difficult, or on the other side, it could be incredibly difficult to do anything, to take any kind of action. And, the extroverts out there and the people that are in leadership positions or excellent communicators out there, people with charisma that, are putting in the work to ensure that they are still, able to command the room or influence others or eloquently explain the point that they're trying to make or the emotions that they're feeling. I'm envious of those people and have been trying to learn more from them. And I know that once I get my groove back, once I'm back in my state of flow, it's going to feel like night and day. And RT, welcome in. Thank you so much for being here, by the way. So I wanted to stream all day today originally. So you can imagine at the time of this stream/recording, it's about to hit 5 o'clock. Unicorn will probably be home, around 5:30. So I'll check in with her when she gets here, find out what she wants to do. She's been pushing me to stream for a long time now. And Monica, thank you so much for subscribing at tier 1, 18 months. No, it doesn't. It does not call for a pun. I was wondering why the tennis ball kept getting bigger and bigger. Then it hit me. It's like, oh! Many of you that are part of the core community know this about me, but and it's the area that I'm working on. Just being here is an example of that. And that's the feeling of shame when you say you're going to do something and you don't, for whatever reason, justified or not. You said you'd do something and then you didn't. You say, like, going live and then not finishing games and then not putting out content and then not doing it. Saying I would talk in the Discord every day this year. Have not done that at all. And I'm unfortunately the kind of person that, when left unchecked, meaning if I am unaware of the areas of my life that needs extra care and a little more focus than other areas, I just want to hide. I don't want to show my face, even if it's in a virtual environment, you know, where you're not cheese and rice. Who is blowing up the alerts over here? Angel, thank you so much for subscribing at tier 1. Now for 27 months. You're on a 27-month streak? Oh, come on. How many of you kept your subscriptions while I was away? You didn't need to do that. Like, you can absolutely cancel and resubscribe whenever you want. And I hope this is clear, which is the income is always nice. It's always helpful. It's always appreciated, even if I'm scolding you deep down inside. I'm very happy about it. But I am not in a position, or I'm not allowing myself to be put into a situation again where I feel like I would need to depend on the income from content. I think that's part of the many reasons why content became so stressful. But I just want you to know that obviously there's a huge life-changing event that is months away. I think we are about 4 months. Unicorn is 20 weeks as of yesterday. So that is, for anyone that is unaware, that is pretty much known to be the halfway point of a pregnancy. It's you don't want to lose your streak. Gosh, I understand the power of streaks. Yeah. Keltimos said, so I want to make sure that you don't set yourself up for disappointment. We know that you are going to have a busy life soon, and having a regular schedule will be hard to maintain soon. And I want to make sure that you are okay with that. And before I read the next message, to answer that, you're absolutely correct. And you're going to know with a lot more context, you know, having lived through multiple pregnancies, right? I am aware of that. So I am ensuring that the expectations I am at least setting within my headspace will accurately reflect the expectations that I set with you all. So we'll start right here. As of right now, I am just taking things one step at a time. I'm in disbelief right now that I'm finally live. And I'm just appreciative of that. So I'm not going to say when I will stream next. I can tell you that if I have my way, it would most likely be Saturday, but I can't commit. I want to talk to Unicorn. I want to make sure that now that I am trying to incorporate this back into my life, because I said it earlier, and I'll say it again, it's been a massive void. I have done so many different things over these breaks that I've taken the last 2.5 years to know if this is something that I should continue to do or not. The short answer is yes. I should absolutely continue to do this. So that's good news for you. It's good news for me. And, you know, ideally it should be good news for anyone that is a part of my life. But, you know, it doesn't matter, technically. It doesn't matter whether people find that to be good news or not. Because what matters is how I feel about it. And I know that I will always attract people that that understand. And the goal is that I continue to work on the mental barriers that I've put up myself over the years, trying to take them down one at a time and allowing myself to feel again, allowing myself to feel the warm energy that I get from the community and the seemingly unconditional love that you all continue to show day in and day out. It's been pretty heartwarming to see that the Discord is still going, regardless of whether I'm there or not. It's always been the goal when first creating the server and starting to build the community. And when you I have felt like I've not had a purpose for the longest time now, despite what's on the horizon. And it has nothing to do with that, but I don't want it to affect that in a negative way, if that makes sense. It comes a time where if you are one of those people that continue thinking that someone is going to come and rescue you, or someone is going to come and save you, and you keep that headspace, or you stay in that headspace for, an X amount of time, because time moves differently for everyone. It can be very hard and confusing to feel emotions again. And that says a lot for someone like me who is largely emotional, especially for a guy. A lot of you know this. And everything just felt foreign. Happiness would feel foreign. Depression would feel just right. Depression would feel very familiar. Frustration would feel very familiar. The feeling of being lost, just aimlessness, like I lost the plot. I'm known for losing the plot in my storytelling, and I lost the plot when it came to my own life trajectory. And that's because I allowed too many situations to arise or to occur without properly taking the time and making the effort to address these situations full on and thoroughly, that it just started stacking, and it created that negative domino effect, and I just started spiraling. I just do you ever just feel like you're always doing what everyone else wants you to do? Do you ever feel like you are getting pulled in a dozen different directions every single day? Do you ever feel like you're not allowed to receive the love that is willingly being extended to you, given to you? Do you feel like you would have a pretty good idea of what would make you happy, and then that moment happens and you get what you want and you're still not happy? And like, do you feel like things are never going to change? Do you feel like you're just on a hamster wheel and you're just running continuously and you don't even remember how you got there, why you're there? You just know that you're there. Do you ever feel like you don't know how to explain what you're going through? Do you ever feel that you just made one too many mistakes? That you just do you feel like talking about these things is embarrassing or shameful, especially if you're a male? Or that you're just not a good person? Like, these are the kinds of thoughts that have been living in my head rent free for such a long time. Like, do you feel like time moves differently for you? Like, you can see the world is still spinning, but you're not? It's hard because I'm not feeling like this technically now, but reliving the memories over the last couple of months has just kind of brought the emotions back to the surface. And because those feelings are so strong, I feel like I'm right back there. And it's dangerous. It's dangerous territory. So let me I can't tell you how many times I would pick up a game that has come out recently and I would be so excited at the idea of sharing it with you all, and I didn't. I've purposely held myself back in so many ways, like finishing games like Expedition 33. I haven't touched it since the last time I streamed it, and I've been wanting to finish that game for the longest time. But a lot of you have been watching that journey for so long, and it wouldn't have felt right finishing that without you all getting to witness it. For those of you that have been following that journey, and I apologize for not looking at chat right now. I just want to finish my thought. Technically, I am in a better place. One of the challenges I took on during this break was to challenge myself at work in a way that I hadn't done in a very long time, which was taking the initiative, putting in the time and the effort to study for certifications. And, once you get the job and you've graduated college, a lot of the times you might not feel like you need to continue learning, other than the bare minimum. Like you just keep learning what you have to, and that's it. But that's not the reality, especially in the line of work I'm in. And fortunately, I have reached that place mentally where I love learning, and I challenge myself to learn new things every single day. And that alone started changing things quite a bit, started bringing that spark back that seemingly felt like it faded away into obscurity. And the best part about learning, especially something that you want to learn for your own reasons, is when you finally have those aha moments, those moments where you feel like it all makes sense now. You were able to connect the dots. You were able to identify the patterns. You were able to identify why it matters. When you have that feeling, you don't want to lose it. And you want to be incredibly mindful of it. Like, just take a step back. Like, okay, why does this mean so much to me? Why did this make me so happy? Because you don't want to feel guilty about it, and you don't want it to feel like it's just a random emotion you're just feeling as if you're unstable. And it was because it was a gap in knowledge that has been there for years. Sometimes it's been there all your life, and you finally fill in that gap, that hole in your foundation. And it's amazing how much of a difference things make when you start doing that. You start putting in the work. And that was what I got to experience when I started studying. And I had an exam. I took a certification for Microsoft, and oh man, I was fixated on it for months. Just kept thinking about it. I was like, I need to do it. I need to take the test. And my mentors at work and whatnot would ask me, have you scheduled the exam? And I would say, no, I'm still going through the training, but I haven't finished the training because I've been so backlogged, and I'm trying to get caught up on that, but I keep getting these new cases or issues that, of course, always require my undivided attention as soon as I get them, which is causing this domino effect of other cases, older cases, not getting worked on, or not me not investing as much time and effort into them as I should, because I'm trying to deal with the fire that's in front of me. And long story short, my mentors helped me realize that I was doing things backwards. I would wait for, I guess, clear, crystal clear signs that, hey, you should probably do this. You should probably study. You should probably um, become more consistent with this. And they told me to flip the mindset, reverse the order, and prioritize learning first. And then everything else will fall into place. For example, if you have gaps in knowledge in, your work path, your career path, or whatever, when things finally start to make sense and you have those breakthroughs, you do get to see the effects of that instantaneously. And it is incredibly rewarding. Incredibly rewarding. That was what I got to feel after months of stress and sacrifice. As you all know, so much sacrifice over these months. It paid off. I went, took the exam, and I passed it on my first try, and I didn't even barely pass it. I passed it with a high score. I would say I got a B if I just put a letter on it. Whereas, the old me would have been like, I just want to pass. I just want to know that I know enough to be considered certified. But it was that and more. And that feeling is one that I will never forget. And it's one that I want to continue to experience. So you'll be proud. The first thing I did technically was call my mom, let her know. Of course, she wasn't surprised. But the second thing I did, and I'll just group it in. I told my mom and told Unicorn and some of my friends that I've met over the years in the space, and because I know that I had a self-image that likely didn't reflect a growth mindset, whether it's based on observed behaviors or the resume or your performance. But it helped me overcome that feeling that I know most of us are familiar with, which is that feeling of you don't belong here. That feeling of everyone else is better than you. The feeling of everyone is more passionate about this than you. The feeling of everyone else seems to connect with the team better, and I just found myself siloing myself in more ways than one. I siloed myself by working remotely, which, was not an option, or it was the only option, of course, when I first started. But starting next year, there's going to be a mandatory return to office, RTO for short. And it's going to be like a staged rollout, meaning, this is going to every team or every department or whatnot within the company is going to have like their own set of criteria that they'll need to review and adhere to determine how we'll get everyone back in the office, if it's even possible. So I remember when I saw that news like a month ago, I remember feeling like my world is coming to an end. I've been able to work remotely since the pandemic, and I never wanted to lose that ability to work remotely. Like I don't miss driving to the office. Like I don't miss the traffic. I do miss the collaborations, like the camaraderie. If you're running into challenges with things, you could just get up and go talk to someone. Now there's that extra barrier of, okay, I'm gonna go ping them. Hopefully I'm not bothering them. Hopefully they'll have time to look at it. Hopefully they don't think I'm only reaching out to them when I need something, or that I shouldn't even need help because I should already know this. I've been doing this for years, blah, blah, blah. Like all those mental barriers. Just long story short, is the brain listening to your thoughts and trying to protect you based on what you're asking of your brain. I'm asking my brain, whether I'm conscious about it or unconscious about it, to protect me at all times. Keep me safe from feeling pain. Keep me safe from experiencing more situations or future situations where I allow my heart to be worn on my sleeve like I used to always be. I used to always be that way. And then people take advantage of it when the time is right for them, and then they manipulate it. They manipulate that trust to help them, get closer to whatever goal they originally had in mind. It's just a means to an end kind of thing. Protect me from the risk of putting a lot of time and effort into content and the finished product doesn't deliver based on my own expectations that I have created in my head. A lot of the times, many of us, I'm speaking this way on purpose because I know that there's so many of us that go through this, that are going through this, that have gone through this, and that's the feeling of, why risk it? There's clearly a sign that, this was not meant for me. This is not something I was meant to do long term. This was just a phase, just a stage in my life, or that I needed to go through to get to the next chapter. And long story short, you end up writing off your future self, like the future version of yourself, before you give it a chance, because you've already concluded in your head it's not going to matter. It's not going to work out. No one's going to care, or no one's going to care enough, meaning my projected thoughts and intentions, like, I expect people to care a lot. I expect the content to deliver because I put in a lot of time, I put in a lot of effort, and that the reality is that is out of your control. And the feeling of things being out of your control, coming to terms with accepting that, for someone like me, is a nightmare. It is a nightmare scenario, nightmare situation. That's what my brain has been conditioned to feel because of past life experiences, not putting in the work, to confront those demons, or those painful memories or situations, and not accepting the fact that this is a part of life, and that every single situation, every single experience you have is always an opportunity for growth. And what I mean by that is there's always more than one way to look at things. And a lot of the times we need to ask ourselves, well, why are we feeling this way? Why did we expect things to go differently? Why did we allow ourselves to decide that there's only one way? There's only one outcome that is favorable. There's no other outcomes. It has to work. Like, why put yourself through this pressure? Why are we allowing ourselves to do that? Why? And I don't think there's a short answer. And I don't think there's just one answer. Because in life, just based on the limitations of what we know about our own species, and like how our brains are wired, and how we seemingly react to things just based on historical knowledge, historical data, I guess. Because of the limitations of our species, a lot of the times we want things to make sense, and a lot of the times that would indicate that we need to somehow categorize this. Like, we need to be able to put this in, we need to be able to label this situation, like this experience, as something, or you need to take a side, like you're either on the left or you're on the right, or you're team red or team blue, or you only have one form of identity and nothing else, or you're either a PC gamer or you're a console gamer, or you either play PlayStation or Xbox. You can't play both, like you got to pick a side. I will just go as far as to say is, I just feel like that's dangerous, because what it ultimately ends up doing is, whether you're aware of it or not, it ends up putting you in a box, and eventually you'll just start decorating the box, like I'll just say this room, for example. You don't, if you live by the philosophy that things have to make sense, that everything is within your control, and it's okay to not accept that uncertainty is a part of life, and it's okay to it's very difficult to explain these things. Before I lose the plot, the point that I'm trying to make is that in the real world, in our realities, meaning outside of any form of any form of substance abuse or medium that you partake in to help you get through the days. I'm sorry. I just you can't allow yourself to become so dependent on whatever vice. The word is vice. That was the word I was trying to recall. Whatever vice that you have to help you get through the days. If you think that even if no one's looking, even if it seemingly feels like the vice that you are incredibly dependent on doesn't seem or doesn't appear to be causing any negative side effects or situations or negative results, negative outcomes, that it means that you can just continue to do this, continue to indulge, continue to ignore other things that you need to address. I'm going to respectfully tell you that that is wrong. That is a very slippery slope. That is not a healthy headspace to be in. It's not a healthy situation to be in. And I am someone that if there's something I enjoy, I'm all in. You know, I want to fixate on it, and I want to keep doing it, and I want to do everything within my power to do whatever I need to do to allow myself to keep doing that, keep consuming that vice. And I'll say consumption because in my eyes, consumption doesn't just mean eating, like physically eating, but it means, you know, absorbing. Like it's consuming your time, it's consuming your thoughts, it's consuming it's draining your drive, your motivation, to push yourself, to struggle. And that's what I want to add to this, which is struggle. I've been struggling a lot, and I know I'm not the only one. I know many of us, if not all of us, are struggling to some degree, some worse than others. I know there's plenty of people that have been suffering far worse than me. But at the same time, that does not mean that we dismiss or discount what we're going through. But what it does mean is that if you're struggling, you have to take the time to identify why you were struggling. Was it mismanaged expectations? Are you conveniently ignoring the elephant in the room? And sometimes you're the only one that knows about the elephant in the room. But again, the illusion that has been created, the fog that seems to be so dense or thick, has reached a state where you continue to think that nothing bad is going to come out of this, or you're not doing anything wrong. And the bottom line is that even if it seems like no one else is impacted negatively by the vice that or vices that you're so consumed with, you're ultimately, I guess I don't want to use the word failing, but it doesn't serve you. And everything will come to a head at some point. You will eventually realize, and I already said it earlier, but I have to say it again, but you will eventually realize that the world continues to spin even if you're not. So change is hard, and it's scary, and there is no guarantee that the change that you're going to make will yield the results that you're looking for. However, if you don't try at all, then all you're doing is fulfilling a self-prophecy. And once you've done that, you've now convinced yourself that you made the right decision to have not done this change or made this change until now, and you'll just likely revert back to your old ways and start indulging in the vices again. And it's dangerous. And then also, you have to help yourself. You have to. And that's the hardest part. The hardest part is, number one, acknowledging or admitting that you're struggling, that things are not going how you expected them to. And it can seem like there's a lot of negative things happening one after the other. But what you may not realize is that this outcome was the result of thousands and thousands and thousands of decisions and actions that you have made throughout your life. And you can allow yourself to be stuck in the past. You can allow yourself to remain a victim. You were just a victim of society. You're just a victim of the systems in place. You're just a victim of the environment that you grew up in. You're just a victim of the people that you've allowed yourself to be surrounded with. And, it's not your fault, right? It's not your fault. You were just dealt a bad hand, and you just have to accept it, right? That's what a lot of people think. And they usually don't like to hear that the truth is the opposite. And that, well, yes, it may be true that you were born into struggle. Like you struggled more than the people around you, your friends, your family, your coworkers, your community members. And because of that, you should just wait for some hero to come and save you. And it's like, no. Here's the thing. Here's the reality. No one is coming to save you. How can anyone help you or love you if you are refusing to help yourself? You're refusing to love yourself. You're refusing to put the work in. You're refusing to acknowledge the harsh reality of your situation, which is you're in a hole and you think that everyone else dug it for you and someone pushed you in. But in reality, all they did was teach you how to use a shovel, and you started digging, maybe looking for something, and you fell into the hole because you thought you found it, and you didn't have a fail-safe plan ready so that you could climb out of the hole. And because of that, it just means you're stuck in the hole. And it's like, most people will probably feel that way and then just ultimately live an unfulfilling life and die with regret. Or you can accept that this is the situation you're in, and it's never 100% your fault. It's never the situation. But it is 100% up to you to hold yourself accountable and find a way to get out of the hole that you're in. Find a way to restore the light that has disappeared, seemingly gone out. It is up to you. And more harsh truths, 9 times out of 10, the road to recovery is always a long one, and it is a never-ending one. Our journeys end when our lives end. And depending on what you believe in, that could just mean this journey is done. Now you have a new journey that you will be beginning. You'll be starting. Depending on, again, if you have a faith, what you believe in. And when you realize that you have the power to change your situation and that change can start immediately, even though I mentioned a long road ahead, that is based on the stages of acknowledging your struggles, grieving about the struggles, and then eventually trying to do something about the struggles. And a lot of us actually have realized that those same struggles is what helped us grow into the people that we are today. You know, maybe you got fired from a job or you were let go, and for the longest time, it felt like the end of the world, and you didn't know how you were going to provide for your family. You didn't know how you were going to be able to pivot. You didn't know, like, in this market, in these dark, divisive times, but the reality is, now you're in a better job. You've found a better job, or you've switched careers, like you were able to pivot, or maybe you were able to retire finally. You know, at first it was, reluctant, to quit or to retire, but then it turns out, no, I was supposed to have retired 10 years ago, but I was afraid of boredom. I was afraid of not feeling like I had a purpose in life anymore. And so I just kept working until I could physically no longer work. I am now on disability. It's like you, in a situation or scenario like that, you might come up with all these reasons to blame everyone else for that predicament. But in reality, you made those decisions. No one ever wants to look in the mirror and hold oneself accountable. But you have to. You have to. And the thing is, it doesn't matter whether you listen to me or anyone else that shares similar experiences, similar advice, because it's your life. It's your life. And if you want a better life, then you need to start by saying that. Start by thinking it and then saying it. I want a better life. I want a better life. I want a better life. But you can't just let it stop there. You need to start digging into this. You're like, okay, I want a better life. Well, what does that mean? Maybe I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck anymore. Maybe I don't want to feel so dependent on vices. Or maybe I don't want to feel like the work that I'm doing every day is meaningless. Then start putting in the work. And all that means is just start researching. Start reaching out to your peers, your friends, family, mentors, coworkers, coaches, community members. Ask them, talk to them, ask them, like, how do they do what they do? Like reach out to the people that you respect the most. The people that will give you the time of day when the time comes. You know who they are. And if you don't have anyone like that, then reach out to someone professionally. And if you can't afford that, then, we have the world's most powerful devices in the palms of our hands. At the end of the day, whatever question you have is just a Google search away, or in today's times, an AI prompt away. And I don't think people realize how easy things can actually be when it comes to change. Like, you could be struggling for years, feeling like you're seemingly in the same place, frozen in time. And then the moment you have the thought, I want things to change and I'm going to do something about it. And then you actually take that step and you start doing things one step at a time, trusting the process. You have to trust the process. You have to trust that as long as you are open-minded about the experiences that you have in your lifetime and how it's not always going to make sense why you go through what you go through, but what you do know is you're still here and you still have people that care about you and you still have unfulfilled goals and dreams, and you do have the capability to actually do something about it. Like, it can feel like a light switch, or it can feel like it's a night and day situation, because all of a sudden it starts building, like, every day. What you don't want to hear is that character is built during those unseen times. And what I mean by that is, just because no one is watching you, or no one is listening to you, or no one's around, and you're like, oh, I'm free to do whatever I want to do, if you continue to just give in and do the things that give you the temporary dopamine fixes, and like, if you continue to just indulge in things that aren't helping you long term, it's all going to catch up. It's all going to catch up to you, and you'll know when it happens. You will, because you will feel like your back's against the wall, and you unfortunately have learned too much and realized that this is your own fault. So that is, and I'm sure, a very abstract and convoluted way of describing my situation. That is the situation I have ultimately been in for at least 2.5 years. And finally, things are changing. Started with that certification. Imposter syndrome is, I won't say it's completely gone, but I will say that it is very, very much managed now. Because all it takes is just a simple reminder. It's like, look, when are you ever known to pass something on the first try, let alone something involving security. It was a security certification too. It wasn't just a, I know how to use Office 365. Like this was hey, if I asked you to design a plan to secure my company and all of its assets and resources, could you do it? And if you can, you need to describe how you would do it and why you would do what you do and what you would do in future situations should a situation arise. And that's a big deal. It's a big deal because security and privacy is, if it's not a cornerstone, it is a very fundamental area of our lives that many of us would either love to see improve or would love to if you're like me, you want to feel like you don't have to worry about someone hacking you or someone finding something that you didn't want them to find, or that someone heard you say something you didn't want anyone to say, or you didn't want anyone to hear you say, things like that. Like if I just feel like you just have to care about yourself. You have to start caring about yourself. You have to start leading yourself. That was one of the things that I learned recently, was that many of us are not actually leading our lives, our own lives. That's I touched on this with different phrasing earlier, but it's coming back to me. And that's, if you find that you're constantly people pleasing or overextending yourself and ignoring, the things that you need to take care of for yourself, you keep allowing yourself to just put yourself on the back burner and just make everyone else happy. I think all of us have probably been there at some point, and if not, you're either narcissistic or arrogant or ignorant. I don't see how you could truly be blind to this, but it feels good taking the steps to lead my life again. And it started with that certification. And then it started with making the daily choices of not always agreeing to do something that someone has asked you to do, or not always adjusting your schedules to put your own self needs at the bottom of the priority list. And you just have to put yourselves out there. You just have to put yourself back out there. Sometimes You need to be put into extreme situations in order for change to happen. And there's a lot of reasons for that. There's these metaphorical blinders that we have on at times that make it very easy to ignore what everyone else is seeing, which could be things like self-sabotage, self-harm, spiraling, and it's hard. It's hard. Life is hard, and there's no one fix for all. There never will be, because we're all different and we're all the same. And I know how confusing that statement is, but we're all different in the sense of you can't live my life, I can't live your life. We can make the same decisions and still have different outcomes in the end. That alone is proof that we're not all the same. But we are all the same in the sense of we are all human. We all bleed red. And we are all social creatures by nature, and we are dependent on each other. If every single human being on this planet siloed themselves and did that until we died, till the end of our lifetimes, we would die as a species. There would be, you would not see as much growth in anything in life, in technology, in science, in medical, the medical industry, or anything like that, and I think many of us have forgotten the benefits of the human connection. And I mean, there's even chemicals involved, like just hugging people alone, touching other humans gives you that chemical called oxytocin. And it is a wonderful feeling. Absolutely wonderful. And that helps. Like if we need to bring science into this, I mean, it helps you in so many ways. It can, all of a sudden, you might be able to sleep better. You might not have as much anxiety anymore. You might not feel as hopeless as you've been feeling. You might not feel like you no longer have faith in humanity anymore. It's important. It's important for us to connect with people, and it's also important that we give each other grace. Let's manage our expectations as far as the frequency of communication. For example, just because you're on top of it, like you can reply to messages that you get, or you answer every single phone call that you get from people you care about, and you're always there for others, things like that. Just because you're that way, that doesn't mean that you should expect everyone else to be that way. And it also doesn't mean that the way that they are is wrong because they're not doing what you do. Like the reality is, a lot of the times when we feel like people don't care, people aren't reaching out as much, or they're no longer inviting you to things, or they no longer even reach out to you, like even over the holidays, like they don't tell you happy holidays, they don't tell you anything like that anymore. That doesn't necessarily mean that they don't care about you anymore. More than likely, they do. More than likely, if you reach out to them, you'd be pleasantly surprised on how they respond. They might be excited. They might be happy. They might be talkative, you know? And you built this up in your head, this negative perspective on the situation because you were gauging your relationships based on these metrics that you've come up with on your own. Like, oh, if they don't talk to me within 24 hours, then they don't care. Or if they don't respond to my text message that I sent 5 minutes ago, they don't care. You know, and it's like, no. I've said this probably 50 times already, but the reality is that each and every single one of us have our own lives to lead. That's just the truth. There is no debating that fact. I have my own life to lead. You have your own life to lead. Your friends have their own lives to lead. Your family members have their own lives to lead. Your coworkers have their own lives to lead. Your community members have their own lives to lead. That is always going to be the situation. So if that is the case, then why can't we start showing up for ourselves more? Why can't we do that? Why do we constantly feel like we have to be in service of others all the time? Why is it considered selfish if you're trying to serve yourself? Why is it selfish if you make a choice to not respond to that text message, to not respond to those calls, to not respond to those meeting requests or invites to, events? Why is it not okay to decline those things if they're not ultimately meant to serve you? And that doesn't mean you just start cutting people off or you just start saying no all the time or anything like that. It's nothing like that. It's never extreme like that. It's just a situation where a lot of us are incredibly misaligned. Like we think we have things prioritized, but we don't, because we're not putting ourselves in that category of prioritization because of the societal stigmas of narcissism, and work-life culture, and depending on the country you're in, or the family, or your culture in general, like that can all play a part in these things. And if you are going through something very similar, I'm sure you feel like it is hard. It is hard to allow yourself to feel happiness. It is hard to come to terms with the fact that that the decision you made is more than likely not going to be a decision that the people close to you would appreciate or approve of or be okay with. But at the end of the day, if this is for you, then this is for you. If this is going to serve you in a way that means that you feel that sense of purpose again, that you are contributing to, like you feel like you're contributing to the world in some manner, or you just feel like you don't feel so imbalanced anymore, chemically speaking, like maybe you're able to finally sleep again. Maybe you don't feel as chronically ill as you've been feeling over the years because you find that your health is getting better. Like maybe your friends wanted you to go out to lunch with them, but you already told yourself that on your lunch break, you're going to go take a walk. You're going to take a walk, and you're going to do that because you care about your physical health. You care about following through on the promise you made to yourself. And consequently, it means that you're going to disappoint your friends if you don't go. Or that could have been the last time that they invite you to places. And if you're not in a good headspace, you might develop guilt over that. You might beat yourself up and tell yourself or convince yourself that you made the wrong decision, that you should not have been selfish, that you should have said yes. Now your friends hate you and they don't want to spend time with you anymore. No. At the end of the day, that is their decision, and it is based on their own set of values. You have to figure out what your values are. You have to figure them out. If you don't know, or you need examples, again, a Google search, an AI prompt, a YouTube video, a book, a friend, a mentor, a coworker, community member. There's no shortage of options for you to help you find the answers that you're looking for. But it starts with you. And that is everything that I've been going through. And the only way I know how to explain it right now. And I'm still going through it. I haven't figured everything out, but I'm on the right path. I know I am. And I feel strongly that it was important to share this with you all. And this leads to the next piece, which is I don't want to set any timelines, but I will tell you that you shouldn't be surprised if you just start seeing completely different content from me. It could be in the realm of this talk, for example. It's not about trying to be the smartest person in the room or making it seem like you have all the answers. All I'm doing is sharing my experiences, and the reason behind that is the fact that you never know who's going to hear this, who's going to see this, where they're at in life. You will never know what kind of impact you truly have on others. But what you do know is that you are trying to live a life that feels true to yourself. And if you don't know what that feeling is, it's foreign or you've never had it, that's okay. That means that you haven't yet found that path and that you have to keep experimenting. Try new things. Allow yourself to fail. Failing leads to growth. The most growth we have experienced in our lives likely originated from failures. It's very rare that all it took was a book, a video, a friend's advice. That was helpful, and it's definitely a start, but that's still not likely going to lead you to the growth that you're seeking. It's going to help, it's going to aid, but it's never going to be just that. You have to struggle. You have to. And I feel like, and I'm included, I don't want to struggle. I don't want to fail. I don't want to feel pain. I don't want to feel depressed. I don't want to feel lost. I don't want to feel like I made a mistake. I don't want to feel any of that. I want to be happy all the time. I want to indulge in whatever I want to indulge in. What life's greatest indulgences have to offer. I want to be able to create content as much as I want, when I want, for as long as I want. I don't want to work. I don't want to keep a day job, but What if that day job can lead you to the destination that you are currently seeking? And even if it gets you there, it's still not the end. You will keep going until life says you can't anymore. And you'll either start a new journey, depending on what you believe in. And I know I said it earlier. I just wanted to loop it back to that. Or you'll just live a life feeling unfulfilled, dying with regret, and haunting everyone around you because now you're a ghost. And you're going to appear as a special guest in the paranormal or Phasmophobia movie. That's not what I want. I hate Phasmophobia. Thank you. Thank you, Artsy. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, Zenny. Thank you, Nadia. Thank you, Computer Nerd, for being here. I didn't get to play the game. Unicorn is home. So I'm going to make sure I sign off. We'll spend some time with her and our little girl that is just months away from being here. And of course, that is another strong motivator for this self-reflection, which is I want to be there for her, and I want to try and lead by example. I don't want to just be the person that knows what to say. Like, I've memorized all of the motivational phrases or quotes or something, and then just regurgitate it, to her. It's like, no, that's not what I want to do. I want to give her authentic advice that stems from my experience, and I want to help teach her from the very beginning how to embrace the growth mindset, how to become okay with uncertainty, how to not try to focus on figuring out what labels you fall under. If you're in IT and you know about identity, the word identity, you understand that identity is more than just your username and password and your job role, right? Identity can be resources. Identity can, like, servers, workstations, people. It can be all kinds of things. And for many of us, if let's say we created a mind map, or you had a whiteboard and you wrote the word identity and you just started writing things that mean something to you, like Wizard of Time. I love Pokemon. Big surprise. So maybe I'll put Pokemon up there. Zelda. Cars. I love fast cars. I drive a fast car. I love technology. I love love. I love being in love. I love the energy that love brings. I love animals. So maybe I'll put dogs there. Wizard of Time right in the middle. Dogs, Pokemon, or video games, right? Technology, cars, music. Music is a huge thing for me. So music, and magic. Magic and fantasy, things of that nature is very much in the realm of what I like. And my name alone, my real name, can kind of give that away. And the bottom line is, we're not just one thing. We're not single. We're not. You just can't put us in a box. You can't put us in a box. You can't just label us something, and it means that that's what we are. Like it. Just because you have beliefs that fall into this category, but you also have a set of beliefs that fall into another category, and those categories have been portrayed or perceived as being polar opposites. So you're either on one end or the other. That is just a false and ultimately impossible it's just an impossible way of trying to understand life. There's so many, for example, we know that there are different frequencies out there, like, that you can't see. If you're in the content space, you know, you have to care about that. Like the radio channels, you want to make sure you're not, you don't have any interference that's happening. If you believe in the paranormal, you understand that you're not always going to be able to see spirits. And you know that there are things out there that you don't understand. You know there are things that the human eye cannot see or perceive. And if you believe that, then you're already on the right track, because that means you are admitting and accepting that there are things that you don't understand and may never understand, and that's okay. That's okay. You just start, if you truly start embracing these things, you'll start feeling relief. Like a big sigh of relief. Like, okay, I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to worry about all my equipment working 100% of the time. I don't have to have some master plan before hitting go live. I don't have to be on time. You know, it's nice. It's respectful to, you know, everyone else involved if you set those expectations, but still, it's not the end of the world at the end of the day. And all that matters is every single day, you need to be asking yourself, whether it's at the start of the day, the end of the day, the middle of the day, or multiple times a day, am I doing the work that needs to be done so I can feel more fulfilled, so I can become happier? And my version of happiness isn't being happy 24/7. It's more or less the feeling of never losing your spark, never losing your way. And if you do lose your way, and it will happen, it's going to happen to me again in the future, hopefully later rather than sooner. But do you know how to get back? Do you know how to find yourself again? And if you don't, are you going to make the conscious decision to fold? Woe is me. Amazing band, by the way. Or are you going to embrace the challenge? And if you're crazy enough, maybe even get excited. You might discover something new about yourself. And I don't know when's the last time any of us have had one of those moments. For me, it's been a lot, quite often right now. But I've been having to make sacrifices for this. All of a sudden, your version of reality that you've been living for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, you know, just because it's familiar and just because it's the only thing you've known for X amount of time doesn't mean that that is the truth, that that is the reality, that you cannot do anything else in life, or you cannot grow, you cannot succeed. And I'm excited. I'm excited for what the future has to hold. I'm excited for my future self, because I'm going to allow my future self the opportunity to show up, because I will allow myself to try things. I will allow myself to embrace the challenges, embrace the failures, not willingly. It's going to be tough, but I'll know how to coach myself back to, back to a safe place, and not fantasizing about what lies at the bottom of the abyss, and like I'm not going to beat myself up for not being able to live stream this game to you all. And I'm also no longer going to set the expectation that I'm going to try to share my entire experiences with these games with you all. Shouldn't come as a surprise, but that was just one of the chains that I have had on myself for the longest time, making it seem like, oh, if I don't share a live reaction with them, or if it's not a blind reaction, then they're not going to care about whatever it is I put out there about these games, whatever I'm consuming and wanting to share with the world. There's so many different things you can do. For example, game reviews. I mean, how many times have we waited for a game review to drop, where we waited for someone to put in X amount of hours to play through the entire game and explain the story, the mechanics, the strengths, the weaknesses, and eventually giving you an overall score, and then that score determines whether you invest your time and money into that game. Like, do you think they would have just rather have live streamed that? Maybe, but you can do things like that. You can, we all consume content online where people make videos of memes from games, or just explaining to them what this game did for you. And so just expect that things aren't always going to be what you're familiar with. And that also means that you will still continue to see stuff that you're familiar with. It's just, I'm going to allow myself to expand, because if I have those sparks of inspiration, I want to follow through on it. And it'll either work out or it won't. And if it doesn't work out, what did I learn? What could I learn from that? How can I take what I learned from that situation and apply it elsewhere? And sometimes that experience crosses boundaries, right? It crosses worlds or areas of your life. A lot of the times people in the content creator space end up being able to perform better or adjust or transition better to public speaking, or taking on leadership roles in whatever company they're in, they might be able to present things, or they might be able to create content that is more accessible for people because you have to care about those things. Or maybe you decided to get into music full time now because content helped you become an audiophile. Before, that stuff used to intimidate you. You know, you're like, I don't know anything about decibels. I don't know about the frequencies. I don't know about like XLR technology or cardioid microphones and dynamic microphones and the difference between wireless and wired, you know, stuff like that. Like, you never know. You never know. But you know what's really great is when you see it pay off. When you see that all this experience that you gained over the years, trying all these different things, ultimately helped you get to a point in your life or a place in your life that you just didn't think was possible. Especially if you thought, I need to just stay on this one path and I need to not deviate from it, because you always hear from motivational speakers that the ultimate sign of success or the ultimate solution to success is consistency. And I'm not going to say that that's wrong, but I will say that sometimes there needs to be more context added to that, you know. Inconsistency is a vague term. It doesn't mean a specific metric, a specific threshold of time, period of time. Consistency just means that at some point or another, you come back and you do it. And when you do the thing, you are doing the thing for yourself. You're following through on the promises that you kept to yourself. So my promise today was that I would live stream. And I did that. And there was a lot of steps involved to get to that go live button and actually pressing it. But I did it. And I will eventually be at the point again where it'll be second nature, and the only feelings I'm having is excitement because I cannot wait to share or connect with you all again. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Nadia stated, keep pushing through these uncomfortable moments. You're doing an incredible job. Your intentions are so pure. Little girl will have the best ad. Oh man, come on, Nadia, I'm not going to make it through this. You're already doing way more than others have. You want the best for your new family, and you will, because you deserve it. You and Unicorn will get through anything together. Keep putting yourself and your family first. We're always going to be here cheering you on. Care about you so much. Keep doing the hard work. I'm so proud of you. I think I'm too dehydrated right now. You probably can't even see, but I'm actually mic'd up. I invested in wireless microphones. I bought the Rode Wireless Pro set. It's very expensive. It's like $400 retail, but I didn't spend that much. I got it on sale for like $300. Still a lot, but it's exciting because I have done the tweaking. That was one of the things that I did. I've been testing it. I could technically switch to it, so you guys could hear how it sounds if I'm here. But the goal and the idea is that I want to be able to create content no matter where I'm at, no matter what I'm doing. And if anything, I want to be able to record myself speaking about things. And I want good audio. And you deserve good audio. Many of us know the difference between good audio and bad audio. And audio can make or break a piece of content. You know, the content you're consuming. If the audio is horrible, you're probably not going to keep watching it or going to mute it. You know, if the music sounds horrible, because of technical issues, you're not going to keep listening to it unless it's yours and you're trying to fix it. It works well. I've already been practicing. I had training in a morale event yesterday. Talk about that in the future. And I got to use my camera. I got to use those mics, and I was interviewing people. I even interviewed my manager's manager, and started building rapport with him, and not necessarily for like a way to climb up the ladder or anything quicker, but more or less like, again, like you're a senior person, you're in a senior position, and there's a lot I could learn from you, and I want to learn from you, you know, and people love that, and they love it because, number one, you're acknowledging their hard work. And sometimes it goes unnoticed. Most of the time it goes unnoticed, and sometimes it finally does. And you also never know when what people are going through. And that one positive statement could have, not to sound dramatic, it could have saved a life, or it could have turned their day around. It could stick with them. It could be one of the most memorable impressions or memories they have of you, you know. Maybe no one else ever says anything nice to them and only comes to them when they need something, or they're wearing a mask that is so thin and transparent that they think that, you know, that people can't see through their fakeness. And the reality is people can. People are not as dumb as you think. It's very important that you think about who you're surrounding yourself with. Because if you are surrounding yourself with people that, you'll hear this in astrology a lot, they'll say low frequency. If you're surrounding yourself with people that are operating on a low frequency, meaning they are likely living a life unchecked, like they refuse to acknowledge the flaws, I shouldn't say flaws, the areas of their life that they need to focus on, just based on what you've seen. Like, you know, hey, you hate your job, you should go back to school. You know, you didn't go to college, you dropped out of college, or you decided to not pursue education. And I'm not saying education is always continued education is always the solution to a problem like that. But I will say that a growth mindset absolutely is required. Don't think that things are just going to fall into your hand or into your lap or given to you on a silver platter with a silver fork. Like, it's not how things work. Promise you. People never see what's going on behind the scenes. They only see the finished products. They always forget about the amount of training it took for athletes and people in spaces like the entertainment industry, actors, you know, comedians and scientists, doctors. I mean, a lot of us know that you have to go to med school for like 10 years. And like you're practicing resident for like half of that time. So like you're just not even allowed to do anything on your own for such a long period of time that if you aren't reminding yourself of why you're doing this in the first place, you could easily lose your way and quit halfway through, if you even make it halfway. And it's just important that if you are struggling to find that self-motivation on your own, start finding people that you know you can talk to or listen or lean on. Or if you don't have anyone like that in your life, then you go find them. Again, a Google search away, an AI prompt away, a recommendation from a friend, family member, coworker, mentor, whatever. I'm telling you, as challenging as life can be, and as difficult as situations can get at times, it'll baffle you how quickly things can turn around and how easily things can turn around the moment you truly reach that point where you're like, I'm finally going to do something about my life. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to keep doing it because I know what's at stake. And what's at stake isn't necessarily just harmony or your financial situation. It is that state, that feeling of no longer having a purpose or just wandering aimlessly through life. Like, one of my favorite songs growing up is an instrumental song from the Final Fantasy X game. And it was when Titus, the main character, reaches Xanarkand, which is his home, the city or the town, the region, I don't know. Titus is from Xanarkand, and when he gets there, or when you're in that area, you hear this song called Wandering. And I used to listen to it on a loop for hours growing up, and I never understood why for the longest time. And I think it's finally coming to me because it's a very somber song. It's going to bring the name of the song is just perfect. I think that song is beautiful, and it it can evoke the dark emotions that you could be experiencing or have experienced before. And it's just I think that's how I've been feeling throughout most of my life. It's just wandering, and there's a part of that sounds sad, and most of the time it can be, but the other part of it is, well, you're wandering because you're allowing the world around you, you're allowing everything around you to dictate where you wander to, as opposed to you're wandering on your own because you're trying to find your purpose, and there was something you spotted, and you decided to start going that way. You just decided, I want to see what's at the end of the horizon over there. But if I keep getting distracted, like in Breath of the Wild, by every little shiny thing, I'm going to eventually lose the plot. I'm going to eventually forget why I started going down that path and what it was that excited me or inspired me to make that decision to go down that path. And I have convinced myself that there's no way back. There's no alternate route back, and that's not the truth. The truth is, all roads can lead to the destination of your choosing. Some roads are longer than others. Sometimes you have to take that detour. Sometimes you just don't have enough gas in the tank to make it to that destination as fast as you wanted to or in one trip. Sometimes you have to make pit stops. You have to take detours. In the real world, when you're traveling by car, sometimes the route you were on gets blocked. Unfortunately, there are car crashes that can close down lanes. There could be construction going on. There could be severe weather occurring that, forces you to take a different path. And so the question is, do you just complain and turn around and go back home? Or do you just sit there and just wait it out? Like, oh, I'm going to wait until this path opens up again? Or do you say, you know what? This was unexpected, but we can still get there. And it starts by taking this turn and seeing where it leads. And then taking another turn, seeing where that leads. And never forgetting where you're trying to go. But if you forget where you're trying to go, then you're just going to end up taking a lot of wrong turns. If you're a NASCAR fan, you're going to be taking a lot of left turns. You're going to realize sometimes if I'm only taking left turns, then I'm just stuck in a loop. How many loops, how many laps is it going to take before I'm finally like, well, wait a second. I'm going to take a right turn. I'm going to take a right turn. It doesn't look like there's a path that way, but you know what? I'm just going to try and make a path. The worst thing that'll happen is, again, it won't get me where I thought I was going to get to, but I'll eventually get there. How many times do we decide to never finish something because we don't want to see it end? How many times have you decided to never finish a show because you didn't want to see the ending, especially if you heard nothing but bad things? Or you got so far into a game and you didn't finish it because you were afraid to part ways with it. Or you didn't want to know how it ended. Or the ending disappointed you in the end. Like it just, you develop these expectations. You're like, oh, it has to have a good ending. It has to have a positive ending. And then it doesn't. Or the ending wasn't considered positive in your mind. It hurts. It sucks. If you're in a bad state of mind, you might think, why did I waste my time? Why did I put all these hours into this game just for it to end like this? Forgetting about the journey and all of the emotions and experiences and that you got to have on that journey. And for my core community, the best example will always be Tears of the Kingdom. If we want to put it in the car terms, we willingly chose to take left turns over and over and over and over, like a NASCAR race, a NASCAR 600 or whatever. I don't know. I'm not really a NASCAR fan, but NASCAR's big here. We have the Hall of Fame and stuff, whatever. But how much fun did we have? How much chaos was ensued? How much destruction was witnessed? How many times did you pray for Link's safety and for someone else to take the controller? How many times did you think, man, we're never going to finish this game? And everyone else has finished the game, right? Everyone else finished the game within a month or weeks or days somehow. A lot of them took shortcuts to get straight to the end. A lot of them didn't want to dive into the lore. And the truth of that is that doesn't mean that they were wrong for that. It's their life. It is their choice. They can decide if how they approached their playthroughs brought them the fulfillment that they were looking for or seeking. And if they didn't, they have to put in the work to identify why it didn't give them that sense of fulfillment. But when we finished Tears of the Kingdom, it was very bittersweet because we had so much fun with that first playthrough, and I started finding myself trying to adopt that philosophy with future games. And if you see where I'm going with this, I found myself really loving the journey far more than the destination. I'm intentionally allowing myself to keep taking those left turns so I can just experience things more until I feel like I've gotten what I wanted out of it. Now I'll take the right turn. Now I'll get back on the path that was always there, that will lead you to the end. And I'm going to have a different story to tell. I'm going to have a different story to share. and so will you, and the people that you know that love the game, and people that you will meet in the future. So, do what you need to do to fall in love with the journey, to fall in love with the process. Find a way to appreciate the milestones, appreciate the steps. It's one step at a time. You've heard it 1,000 times, and you may hear it 1,000 more times in the future, but you will continue to be presented opportunities to change, or you'll continue to be presented opportunities to help you find that path again. If you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, you remember at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, sorry, I know it's a spoiler, but the game's been out for 23 years, so I don't want to hear it. At the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, you know, it leads into the events of the next game called Chain of Memories. And I won't get into the story of Chain of Memories, but what I will say is that if you recall, if you had that ending or you watched the ending after the credits, you saw that there were two paths, two roads that you could take. And you see that example in so many different ways throughout history, throughout stories, throughout movies, throughout shows, throughout books, throughout different cultures. It's like it's a universal revelation or universal experience of the point of that there are multiple paths. And a lot of the times they try to simplify things. Remember what I said earlier about how things just have to make sense. You have to just take a side. Do you take the left turn or do you take the right turn? It's like, what? So are you telling me there's only two paths that I could take? And it's like, yeah, there's only two paths you can take. It's like, no. The real answer is there's more than one path that I can take. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's the shortest path or the most efficient path, but it is a path. And I will eventually get there. Just because I didn't take the route you did doesn't mean that I don't get to make it to the end. But I know I'm going to have a lot more fun in this journey, as long as I don't lose sight of why it is I'm on this journey and what it is I want to do. And if things change, my values change over time, and they will, then a new path all of a sudden has been created. And I get to go explore that path and see where it leads me. And that's the beauty of everything. That's the beauty of life. I don't know. I'm going to spend the last 5 minutes going through the activity feed, thanking the people that have been offering support. And if there's any comments you want me to see, now would be the time. Dreddy Bear, thank you so much. I appreciate you for the raid. Is your streak still going? What is Death's Door? Thank you so much for this. Unfortunately, I'm going to be ending the stream. I've made zero progress in the Pokemon game. I've been ranting this whole time, which is to be expected, considering we were 9 days away from a 2-month hiatus. But I just want to let you know, Dread Red J, I appreciate you, and I respect you. I respect the level of dedication that you have shown both here in this community and in your own streaming journey, content creation journey. You didn't ask for a PS5, but you were given one because you had so much good karma built up that it had to go somewhere. So we just put that good karma into a PS5. And that has been the gateway into content creation and getting to share your love for games with people. And it's a beautiful thing. And you're also doing it every day. And you're sharing that passion, that energy with people every single day. And it doesn't matter if there are days where you're feeling tired, or there are days where maybe you didn't enjoy the game as much as the others. But what you can say is that you kept going, and you continue to strengthen or build new connections and existing ones, and it's just amazing. It is just absolutely amazing. And he's doing a fantastic job. Yeah. How's this for good karma? I'm playing Visage this weekend. Okay, well, the elephant in the room for me is I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I need to acknowledge that. I need to see you playing Visage, but I know that Little Nightmares. I wanted to start off the stream originally by saying, what did I miss? But we don't have the time for that. But we'll eventually get through it all. I know that Little Nightmares 3 is out. Silk Song came out. I don't care about Battlefield. Pokemon game came out. You can see I've made so much progress winning. I know that there's a lot of games on the horizon. I know that Metroid Prime comes out first week of December. Which, by the way, I made sure to put in time off for the Metroid Prime release. I put time off. I started putting time off for just major game releases. So today was one of those days. I even put time off for Call of Duty. So because Call of Duty helps me with the release I need at times. If it's been a long, stressful day, sometimes popping heads in Call of Duty is incredibly satisfying. And sometimes if I want to go on a journey, I'll play an open world game. Or sometimes if I want to show off my warrior spirit. So that's the other thing is, if for those of you that believe in astrology, I have a warrior spirit, which means that I am always like ready in Zelda terms to pick up the sword and shield, and I will go into battle. I usually don't ever have a plan, but I will always go into battle. I will keep fighting, and that's what I do. Like I successfully hit master rank in the last season of TCG Pocket. And I am just, I think if I go on a 3-win streak, I think if I win the next 3 games, I will reach master rank a second season in a row. And it's just fun. It's fun to do. But I have to control myself because it's very easy to just keep doing it, keep battling. And so that's one of the vices that I've been trying to tackle moderately, is just not always wanting to be in that warrior state of mind, like, oh, today I'm just gonna fight, I'm just gonna keep, it's like, okay, let's not just fight here. Okay, you can fight here, but you also need to put some of that warrior spirit energy into other areas of your life too. Okay, let's do that, so you don't go back to where you don't want to be. Okay, I will. But it's 7:00, so I'm gonna stop here. And if you have any raid recommendations, ideally someone that you know or that I know, now's the time. And Vanna, thank you so much for being here. I cannot wait to catch up with you all some more. I'm going to try to talk more and more each day as each day goes on, but just know that if I'm falling off of that, I'll eventually find my way back, and I will need your help. I will need your help. I didn't get to where I'm at by myself, and I will never get where I want to go by myself. So I will take the help. I appreciate it, and when I'm able to help you in any capacity, I will do that because I want to, and I live to be in service of others. So if I solely focus on that, though, then that's when all kinds of negative things can happen. So it's all about that mythical line of balance. Thank you, Kildemo, for being here. I think you were the first one here too. You've been here the whole rant, the whole 2-hour, 10-minute rant. I had a feeling it was going to turn out like this, but I'm like, but if I put in a game that I've been looking forward to playing, then surely I will find a way to both play the game and talk. But when you go 2 months not talking, it's pretty ambitious goals. You know, the only way this would have worked out for me is if I had more time. But I'm gonna trust my gut, and I'm gonna appreciate the time that I did get today. It's 2 more hours than I thought I was gonna have. After, let's say I got that stupid FedEx notification that the Pokemon game got delayed because of FedEx, and I'm like, whatever. Thank you. So, before I go, if there's anything that you heard today that resonated with you, if you can, place markers or clips of today's stream, because there may be certain quotes or points that I made that could be of service to others. And everything that I've shared was a culmination of personal experiences and advice that I've gotten from people that I respect. So who is, and yes, and message the mods. Don't just message Sath. Don't just message Dread. Don't just message A-Lig. Give every mod a chance to contribute. And let's all try and do a better job of not filling our plates so much to the point where you're wasting food, or you're spilling food, you're losing food. And you don't want to do that. Can't burn the candle at both ends. And we're all given 24 hours in a day. And so if that is the truth, then you can go as far as you want to go. And it just starts with trusting yourself, appreciating the process, embracing uncertainty, embracing failure as growth opportunities, and not trying to see things in black and white. You've heard me say this in the past, but if you're new here, or if you haven't heard me say this, learn to live in the gray. Because I think life is actually gray. I don't think it's black or white, as much as we want to try and make it so. The only time it's failure is if you don't learn from it. Exactly. So I hate to cut the stream short, but we're going to find someone to raid, and just be on the lookout for notifications or updates in the Discord for the next stream, and just look forward to content on this game. I'll probably just start playing it and, just start logging my experiences with it, because, if you want to see someone's blind reaction, you can find someone And many of us don't want this game spoiled. Many of us are fans of Pokemon in this community, which I'm grateful for. So, appreciate you all. Thank you so much. And let me check the pin message. Sorry, I did miss that. Okay, so Sath pinned this. Is this from Artsy? Okay, gotcha. At 6:06. So just an hour ago. It's fine. Life likes, so the Artsy said this earlier. Life likes to throw us curveballs. And it can be harder for some of us to roll with them. But you deserve patience and space to be you. Remember, everything you have accomplished, and not just the things you haven't. You are more than your mistakes. I am proud of you for the growth I have seen these past 4 years. The future is not written yet. The path ahead of you is not determined by anyone else. No box you need to fit in. I wish you the best as you find your way on your own terms. Beautiful. I believe your streak continues, Artsy. And we all need people like Artsy. And Artsy needs people like Artsy. And we have to take care of each other. Okay? If you want symbiosis, we help one another. We don't hoard things for ourselves, and we don't give all of ourselves to others. Look for that balance. You can absolutely help others or being of service to others and also serve yourself. And if you don't believe me, practice it. And then tell me how it worked out for you. So, all right. Thank you all so much. I will see you next time. Take care.